On the agenda, as I already mentioned, the average electric vehicle contains 6 times more critical minerals than a standard internal combustion engine. We have on the agenda an increase in demand for key elements, minerals that are in the highest demand in modern technologies. Which ones? Electric vehicles, energy-saving technologies, well, let's say for storing energy for later. That is battery packs, batteries, and so on. And small portable electronics and green generation. So, we have reached this point. Accordingly, we have a very interesting situation. We immediately saw an increase in certain minerals. We saw lithium explosive growth. We saw that there was an immediate crazy demand for lithium worldwide. Lithium has been surpassed. Some called it white gold, others called it white oil. Why? Lithium is not something, you can't say it's something exotic. One of the lightest metals in the world. Easily reacts with the environment. It can be found in 145 mineral compounds and minerals worldwide. Presence in underground brines. That is an absolutely understandable metal that has existed for ages. But without lithium, the main structure, let's say, of an electric vehicle is impossible. Or modern technology for the new technological revolution for electrification, impossible. Why? What is a battery pack? What is a modern battery? It is, let's say, a mechanism consisting of 4 parts. The first part is the cathode, the other part is the anode, in the middle is the separator, and between them circulates the electrolyte, a liquid. It's all very simple. The chemistry technologies vary, but the construction scheme is the same. From the negative, from the minus, in the anode. We move to the cathode when we discharge to the battery, and vice versa when we charge. It's all very simple. But it's not just about something else, not just about the filling. To ensure everything is fine, a sufficient amount is necessary. Lithium, it is necessary, if we are talking about the most popular North American technology today, NMC, that is a cathode consisting of nickel, manganese, and cobalt is required. And graphite is necessary. Some combination between synthetic and natural for the production of the anode. Oh, how interesting, right? Considering that these batteries consist of 3 levels. There is a cell, the basic element of the battery. There is a module that combines a series of cells, and there is a pack. A pack is already a large battery block. So, we get, so to speak, the 2 most popular cathode production technologies. They are named packs, batteries. It's either nickel, manganese, cobalt, or nickel, cobalt, aluminum. Further varieties are not of crucial importance, but we can look at the following. We can look at the fact that China, through a series of actions, occupies 3rd, 4th place in lithium extraction, holds 70% of processing capacities, and holds 70% of the capacities for producing the final product, namely the cells of the packer module. That's the first point. Effectively, a monopoly. Effectively, a global monopoly. Not just a monopoly. What is China doing? China is very skillfully entering Africa. China is very skillfully entering several other countries, including South America. I can elaborate on this thesis later, but China is getting into cobalt because China is shaping a policy where it provides an unlimited amount of processing capacity for harmful and complex products. Economy of scale. China has adopted the principle we will provide as much economy of scale as possible. We will provide as much production capacity as possible until we dilute our own structure. And we will connect the necessary amount of power generation to support this entire endeavor. They were obsessed with this concept, and they successfully implemented it. China is getting fully, let's say, into the mainstream. Who extracts 2/3 of the world's cobalt? The Democratic Republic of the Congo, where probably half of all mining operators are either Chinese or, let's say, local artisanal groups of people who band together and extract cobalt in an informal way. All of this is sold to large, let's say, packages, and they then send it on to China. China successfully consumes and processes all of this. Nickel. Indonesia, which today accounts for almost half of the world's nickel production. The Philippines, which accounts for over 20%. It's very interesting who financed this whole story, because until recently, Indonesia was, let's say, just a country for the production and export of raw resources. Indonesia wasn't even considered 20 years ago as a country that could accumulate any high technologies or processing capabilities. Moreover, there's another interesting point. Nickel from Indonesia is of rather low quality. It always has been and required additional processing. Nickel ore. Accordingly, the Chinese come in, who already had a well-developed scheme for processing lithium, rare earths, and so on at that time. Why? Because everywhere, there's high temperature sintering everywhere. There's leaching everywhere. There's work with sulfuric acid. And I can say from my experience with titanium, from my experience with lithium, no one works better with acids than the Chinese. Probably no one in the world today. Accordingly, the Chinese considered one thing against another. They quickly realized that they could elevate the Indonesian ore, which is right next door. This is an engineering term, meaning to raise its level and convert it into something of higher quality through the use of sulfuric acid. And so on, and so on, and so on. They start pouring in money. They are investing a crazy amount of money. According to various estimates, from $40 to $70 billion. Over what period? Over the last 9-10 years? At the same time, they are pushing the local government and political forces to impose a ban. Many think it was a smart move by Indonesia. I don't want to, in any case, diminish anyone. Let's say, to downplay, to lower the level of awareness and consciousness. But the Chinese put pressure on them. It was convenient for them. They applied pressure to create a full cycle in Indonesia of processing and enrichment and then production of some kind of casting product. As a result, an Indonesian lithium cluster emerged. In general, it emerged so well that for some reason it became dominated mainly by Chinese investors. The poor French, there's a large corporation called Eramet. They are present there. 15 of the largest in this field, they sit and cry saying, we can't keep up with the Chinese, our cost price is not capable, we cannot sustain the level of cost that the Chinese can, and so on, and so on, and so on. So China, together with the Indonesians, formed the second, or rather the third part for us, nickel cluster in Indonesia. Next. Meanwhile, look, we are talking, I'll just give a couple of figures. We are talking about market capitalization. About market capitalization in Lithuania. From $32 to $40 billion per year. What is the capitalization of the nickel market there? Around 40. What is there? The annual capitalization of the rare earth market today? About, maybe these are all exotic commodities, very hard to clean up. Just pennies. So the closest we have is copper, in which the global capitalization is there, it's $350 billion. So that's the difference for a moment. I'm not even talking about how it can be compared to iron ore or oil or gas. Yes, not at all.
But the component of these materials with seemingly low capitalization creates those emergent properties that lead to devices with high margins.
Absolutely right. There is a very simple example, a very good one, F-35s. A remarkable plane, a remarkable fighter. Only. This fighter requires, according to various estimates, it's hard to determine the exact number, but from 300 to 400 kilograms of rare earth. Attention, question. Where can these rare earths be sourced from in the USA today? For Lockheed Martin to produce this fighter, everyone was horrified when they realized what they had come to. Because it seems like the market, as I say, the capitalization is small, right? But wait a minute, where to get this product? Moving on.
By the way, sorry to interrupt. This is the factor that restrains Americans from any major war with China in the near term, because they perfectly create all dependencies, even in this specific example. And the Chinese have a similar approach just in other sectors where the Americans have a technological advantage